Hello everyone, so now we are going to keep doing our program. So we need the variance. So the variance is getting the data again. So it's this part right here. So we're going to calculate this item. Every item we're going to subtract the average, then we're going to square that number, then after that we're going to sum those results to get this part right here. Finally we're going to divide it, the amount of numbers minus 1, and that should be our variance. If we want to get the standard deviation, we just have to get the square root of that number. But the most important thing first to do is just getting this subtraction, square this number, sum them up, and then divide it n minus 1. So let's do it in our next method. So we can call it variance. We're gonna get variance from there. What we require from this is the data, right? So we're going to put data right there. The amount of the items is going to be n, and we're going to use the len method of this data, right? So we're going to count the number of items to get an integer from there, and then we're going to create another list, an empty list, to add and to do those calculations right here. So every number we're going to put it in order to then sum them up. So this calculation is going to give us a number. That number should be summarized. We're going to sum it, we're going to aggregate to add it, and then divide it. So hopefully that's going to be clear. I don't know if it's that, but let's try. So the average, right? The average, we can call method, this method right here, the mean method that is right, yes, here, is going to return a mean, so we can call it from here, mean, then we're going to get the average. So now we get the average, and then we can instantiate the sum of those numbers to 0, and just again our for loop for I in range. What is the range that we need? N, or we can use n, or we can use len data. I'm going to put len data is going to be the same thing. Maybe it's more clear if I put it right there. And then what do we need? So for every item that we get there, so it's I, we are going to do that calculation. So at that number that is x in the formula, we are going to subtract the average. But remember that we subtract the average, but also we have to square, right? So I'm going to square it as well. So I can do this first. I'm going to use the parentheses, and then to square is times 2. And then this list empty, we are going to add this variable right here. So how to do that? Exactly the same thing. We're going to call the append method. In that append method, we are going to copy this variable and just append it every time in our list. So we're gonna get it right there. So we need, what are we missing now? So we're missing another for loop, because we have to summarize. So we get this, now we have to sum the numbers up. So we're going to do this part. We already have those numbers, those right here, and then we need to calculate the total of this. So it's this one right here. So let's do this in another 4. So we can do for I and list. That list is this variable right here. You can see it in line 28. That list, don't forget to put the column, and exactly as we did it before, we are going to add the I, and our result should be the variable variance equal to the sum to the result of the sum divided by n minus 1, as we can see it in the formula right here, n minus 1. So is this n minus 1, and we're going to get the variance right there. And then the method is going to return that variance. The standard deviation is going to be very easily, so we can do it now because we are going to just call it SD. We need a variance to get the square root, so I'm going to pass it as an argument, so then we can set that the variable standard deviation is going to be that variable variance that we are passing as a parameter, and we get the square root as 1 divided by 2, and then we return the SD, the standard deviation. So that's it. Then we're going to test it in our next video to start doing the rest of the program. So I'm going to stop it right now. Thank you so much, and see you there.